It wasn't meant to be this way. This studio was never meant to be this quiet, this empty. We've seen too many LEC seasons without a live audience. The players that have developed from European regional leagues and from the EU Masters fill the LEC seats underneath the lights, but you were not able to join us. We've been locked down for so long that many of our players have never even played in front of our crowd. Many of the staff have never even worked with the fans. But for the fans and the players and the crew who've been around long enough to recognize this old trophy, to remember the way that it used to be, got a tantalizing taste, a small hint of our old lives coming back yesterday. These past 2 years have been hard. They've impacted so many people in ways that words won't ever describe. But we persevered, we overcame the challenges, and we continue to do so. The barren quiet that looms over all of us is finally, hopefully, starting to show signs of returning to normality. We here at the LEC have been fortunate to keep the lights on, to keep the show going, to keep providing an avenue for the best players to compete, bringing joy and entertainment to everybody watching. But that has now changed. For 757 days, it's been you at home and us here. But this weekend, we get to do something I haven't done in a while. Ollie, you're going the wrong way. Ollie, viewers, everyone, come with me. I have been itching, waiting, literally melting at the bit to say this. Berlin, make some noise! That's right! We have a live studio audience for the first final in 7. And here in front of this audience that is chomping at the bit for the games, I have to ask, Berlin, who here is supporting Rogue? That wasn't bad, but I've got a feeling this next one's gonna be louder. Who here is supporting G2? The home crowd favors G2. Will it help or hinder? But no matter who you support, there is one thing that brings us all together. Berlin, what is your region? That's right, and it's time to meet the players and get this championship series underway.
They say it started like a wildfire. It's kind of funny that you had me written off dead. Now we're coming for the empire. So now you love me, but you ain't seen nothing yet. Go tell and watch me, keep your eyes on me. I caught you sleeping before, now I'm in your head. You can close it, the doors are open. Now you ain't seen nothing yet. They say it started like
we're still cold-hearted. Eyes on the prize, do what we gotta do to secure our rise. Like pioneers with no fear, never back down, this our frontier. Ash on the path, don't get too near. Blazing a trail, never adhere. Yeah, the road we chose is only built for the pros, and we can walk through the highs and the lows, lunges and throws. Got the crown, never letting it go. Royalty, you ain't getting the throne. Leaders of a new empire, clawed our way up from the muck and the mire. Nothing will take from us all these desires. We're at the summit, we're still going higher. We are the crucible, we are the fire.
Welcome to the 19th League of Legends European Championship Final. Today, Rogue take to the stage looking to secure their first title against the best of Europe in G2. Starting on the blue side for Rogue, it's the crownless king of the top lane, the Sultan of weak sides, Odoamne, looking to take him down in his first season with G2. The man played his way, his meta, and his style. It's BrokenBlade. Making his debut in EU, Malrang in the jungle has led Rogue to finals. Standing opposite him, the longest standing, most successful jungler Europe has ever produced, Jankos. With 63 playoff games in total, the last mid-lane standing, shaking the slip-ups of the seasons past, one final hurdle remains for Rogue's mid-lane, Larssen. What stands in his way? With 6 finals appearances, 6 titles secures, it's G2 Caps. Greek god of the bottom lane, surprising and surpassing all who stood in his way. It's come! Standing opposite, Flakked did not flake under the pressure and stood up to rival the best Europe has ever produced. These bot laners may be Europe's next superstars. Support on and off the rift, the beating heart of Rogue, the foundation for Rogue, it's Trymbi! Back-to-back European Masters titles, and now looking for the LEC crown, it's Targamas! Ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else, put your hands together for your 2022 European LEC Spring finalists, Rogue and G2!
And welcome to the EU Championship, the title match between Rogue and G2. I'm Medic. This is Vedius. That's Caedrel. And what? Mate, I'm hot and bothered already. I'm sweating to the nerves.
Who would have thought the fire was hot? Today we learned.
Almost as hot as you two. Looking dapper.
Look at you, Magic.
They tried to recreate the wildfire shoe. Was it hot there as well?
No, very cold. Also wet. LA, never would have thought. Anyway, we're here for the finals. We're here for G2 versus Rogue. And what a banger are we in for, right? No one really expected G2 to 3-0 Fnatic yesterday, but they look on form and Rogue poised to challenge them.
Not only 3-0 Fnatic, but they're 9-0 in their last 9 games. They sweep Vitality, sweep Misfits, swept straight through Fnatic. They're unstoppable right now. They lost to Fnatic, of course, in the upper bracket finals, and they didn't look super competitive. Some of the games went their way, one game, but ever since then, unstoppable.
It's a story of two teams that have overcome their past mistakes. Rogue coming back from a reverse sweep, being able to beat Fnatic in that upper bracket final, and then G2 taking Fnatic down in dominant fashion to make it to the final as well. It's gonna be a banger.
It kind of did look like Rogue broke Fnatic in that upper bracket finals when they reverse swept them, you know. Fnatic were just throwing all these things at them, and Rogue was just handling it easily and bouncing things away. Sai last 3 games in a row, they seemed pretty happy.
Which is kind of a crazy evolution, because we think back to a year ago, it was Rogue that found themselves at match point, and it was they who got reverse swept by the Mad Lions, and then Mad Lions went on to that year of dominance. But enough of us talking. You know what that sound means. We're about to get into the Champions League.
No, stop.
You just got baited.
Soon.
You cast a
very
curse,
soon.
the sound, Vedius. That's a new level of curse.
Kevin's like, hey, you know, you're on the finals, got to keep you guys on your toes. You know?
First the fire, and then this.
Yeah, so we know that stakes are incredibly high. Both teams a lot on the line. You said something really interesting yesterday, which is that of the players on stage, only 2 of them have won an LEC title before.
Caps and Jankos.
There are 8 players who have not had an LEC title, which is kind of crazy. There will be new kings here in Europe.
Oh, he said it.
We have to say. I mean, we have to, you know? It's kind of crazy. But now, we're getting into the music. So you know what that means, crowd. You need to get the energy up. We're about to get into draft. So without further ado, let's start the first type music of the day.
I will say, getting the crowd really excited for draft. Like, draft is cool
best
and all.
part.
Okay, that's such a colorcaster opinion. I like the fighting. We'll see what fighting occurs in the first game of the series. LeBlanc immediately banned away by Rogue here on the blue side, which they selected.
So we've been thinking a lot about this today, haven't we, Caedrel? Like, the priority of red side versus blue side, what it is that you want to try and remove. Already Rogue showcasing their respect towards Caps. Remember how much agency he was able to have on champions like the Ahri. He also brought out the Silas. How will Rogue find ways of shutting that down? And what about Twisted Fate? Is this just a champion that doesn't exist in this draft? Because remember that Larssen statistically has one of the best Twisted Fates in the league, but Caps, he's no slouch either when it comes to the champ.
Definitely is, but right now I'm looking at bot lane, because that Xayah ban was G2's answer to an Aphelios first pick, so we'll see if Rogue want to first pick Aphelios here. Caitlyn, Zeri, Xayah down, and both these AD carries super high prio on that champion. It will be a Jinx trade-off if they do go for it, but like I said, TF open, Aphelios open. What is the first pick here?
It has to be the Aphelios, surely, and it's going to be. We've seen it even after some small nerfs that happened on the recent patch. Still very prevalent in the playoffs. For Comp, this has been one of his default AD carries. It's been his most played so far in playoffs, so he's going to be very comfortable on the champ.
Definitely has been, and then the answer of Thresh into Jarvan was something that Fnatic kind of struggled with. I think here, G2 pretty comfortable with Jarvan early rotations, Ahri early rotations. This is something that similar to what we were doing yesterday, and there it is. So now Rogue have to respond with Thresh, you have to imagine, matching mid. So I feel like G2 haven't swapped anything up from yesterday. They think it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. What's Rogue's answer?
And the amount of impact that Jankos was able to have early on in games on this Jankos pick, on this Jarvan pick, he was everywhere. Like ganking level 2, level 3, level 4, constantly making things happen for G2. And that's something that Malrang was so praised for throughout spring. It seems like Jankos is trying to match Malrang's playstyle.
Definitely is. And does he want to go for the Lucian here? Would make a lot of sense. They're gonna pick the Rumble. So, early rotation of Rumble. That's Odoamne's Rumble. It could be a... Oh, we've got a Rumble Lucian already, so that's gonna be Rumble top, Lucian mid. Just gonna sack jungle till 4-5. So much confidence already from Rogue on blue side. They definitely came into this with the plan, of course.
Well, now they're putting pressure onto G2. Do you either lock in an answer to the Rumble now, or lose your AD carry as a result, or do you get yourself an AD carry now and allow us to ban away some of the answers to Rumble?
MF?
So MF is huge in the LCS.
Definitely
it's like first pick priority, and I would, if you're not going to go for the Jinx as the match to the Aphelios, MF gives you much more of a bully lane in that bottom lane.
And we saw it in the LCK a little bit as well. I think Teddy was the one who played MF as a counter to Xayah. I haven't seen it so much into Aphelios, but with Jarvan, MF is always going to have a great setup, right? The only problem you have is Lucian is going to be mobile. Maybe G2 want to take away things like the Thresh, so the Aphelios loses a lot of mobility as well, but I never expected these kind of drafts coming out from both these sides on the 2-3 blue side and the MF pick.
I like the Poppy ban that we're seeing. Cheers for the... I'm assuming that's for the Ornn ban.
Yeah, that was for the Ornn ban.
But the respect being shown to Malrang and his versatility in the jungle pool. Yesterday, we made criticisms towards what could Razork actually go for when you limit his options, but Malrang has never really showcased a limit to his pool. They're even respecting the fact that he hasn't shown the Poppy once yet, but they know it could be a good pick and something he could very well bring out.
Yeah, it would be fantastic into the Ahri and Jarvan with the dashes, of course. When I'm looking at Malrang now, I'm thinking of things like Trundle, perhaps, an early game jungler that can actually get the ball rolling and match the Jarvan in the early game. Yuumi going to be taken away. He has shown...
I was going to say, this does mean that the Gnar is also up and available if they want to go for it.
BrokenBlade, his Tryndamere, we know what it's done. Every game I see BrokenBlade play Tryndamere, he's solo killing top. So much confidence coming out of the G2 top laner. Is the Rumble a flex to jungle?
That's what I was wondering.
I really wonder if they can flex this.
It's been a long time. There was, of course, the MSI dominated by Rumble in the jungle, but since then we haven't seen him that much.
I think the argument you have to say is, if I'm putting this Rumble jungle, what's your counter top? Is it so valuable enough for me to play this losing jungle matchup? And I think the answer is no. I think Tryndamere is a pretty safe blind. We've seen it around the world. Trymbi not going to go for the Rakan that he won 3 games in a row with against Fnatic. Just going to go for the Leona for now. Helps with the teamfight engage, of course. Maybe a little bit better for lane.
May have also been worried about the MF Leona answer, and then you look at the team fighting from G2 and it's terrifying, right? So bit of a denial also gives them pretty reliable engage, and then there's going to be a little bit more engage with the Xin Zhao coming out for Malrang. So in terms of crowd control, they are a little bit limited, but you have a lot of side lane threat with things like the Lucian. Rumble is going to be generating a lot of pressure both on side, but perhaps not so much against the Tryndamere, and this Tryndamere is going to be the big issue for Rogue later on in the game.
What does Targamas go for? I think something like Nautilus would just round the comp out really, really well.
He often does set into things like Leona.
Braum, Rakan, anything that can just go in would be fantastic, and there it is. Rakan locked in for Targamas. Look at G2's comp, it's pretty clear what it is. A lot of team fight with MF, Jarvan, and Rakan, right? But you have good side lanes with Tryndamere and Ahri. Rogue's comp a little bit strong in the early game with the Rumbles in Zhao Lucian, playing heavy towards top side. The Aphelios, of course, will be their late game insurance. A bit of a 1-4 comp with the Lucian on side lane.
Yeah, I would definitely say that in terms of ease of execution, G2's looks a lot more straightforward, right? Yep. You have the go in button, the damage buttons, then immediately follow up. And I think what's cool is the Tryndamere can match on side lane as well. You can chase down AD carries, even though Lucian very mobile. Tryndamere, he doesn't really struggle when it comes to chasing anyone down. So G2 have answers pretty much all across the board. The biggest thing is going to be in the early game, as you mentioned. What can Rogue actually get done? We know that Malrang is a hyper-aggressive ganking jungler, but what can he actually do with the early game power that he has?
And I think Rogue needs to be very careful of Jankos' creativity. We saw it yesterday. 5 minutes in, he's ganked all 3 lanes. He's doing red into mid gank, red Raptors into mid gank, 3 camps into bot gank, so they need to make sure they can track this Jarvan in the early stages.
Whew, very interesting drafts for Game 1. Rogue definitely kind of flexing and showcasing all the different variety of champions they can play. G2 kind of sticking to their style, but they were able to win a dominating 3-0 on yesterday. This is going to be very indicative of the series as to how things are going to evolve. I'm expecting this to be a close final, and it's going to be a banger already in Game 1.
I hope it's a close final, Vedi, I'm going to be honest. 8 titles on one side. Only 7 splits on the other. Rogue have less splits in the league than G2 have crowns here in the LEC. But Rogue, they've gone 3rd, 2nd, 3rd. Perhaps today is the day that they claim their first here in Europe. 5 games on the menu you have to field between G2 and Rogue. It's gonna be a banger, I'm sure of it. Let's get onto Summoner's Rift. That was early. That was really early. That's entirely on me. Yeah, we're gonna go. Let's get on to Summoner's Rift. Woo! The haze in front of the screen. a bit of a mysterious entry to the Rift of this game. And you talked a lot about Rogue's strength in the early game. How do we think they're going to be able to enact this early on?
Well, we have to keep our eyes on Jankos. I mean, in terms of raw setup, mid-level 2 could work if Caps goes Charm second. Bot lane could work as well with the Rakan. Top lane, not too much setup, but I think Jankos might have to cover it. Malrang will play towards the top side, and Jankos has two options. One, path into it and cover it, or two, look for plays on the opposite side. Looks like for now he is going to match Malrang as expected. When you're a jungler, you can look around lanes and you can say to yourself, well, he has a Rumble Ignite top on the enemy team. They're going to play around top side. I need to be up there to be there to match it.
Looks like that is the direction that he will be going in. But again, Jankos, he's a little unpredictable in terms of his early game pathing. Where will he look to gank? Remember that you will see Flakked and Targamas already in the lane. If we could have a very quick look down towards the bot side of the map, you will see that they do have that early push. The energy slowly being built up here in Berlin. Roman, this is his classic. This is a classic Roman.
Oh, we've got the stomps coming in now as well. It's like a Broadway musical.
Oh, energy in the room.
And already it feels tense, right? You know, the stakes are so high. G2 want to return back to the top of Europe. Rogue want to secure their first title. They have been top 3 consistently over the last 4 splits. It was last year that Rogue found themselves in a final and they fell short at the final hurdle.
Yeah.
Both of these teams are hungry to win.
And this is a team of Rogue where they're always finishing first or second in the regular season itself. It always comes to playoffs where they're called the chokers, they fail, and they never really get back up when they fall, and it feels like this playoffs has been the complete opposite. They fell. They were 0-2 down against Fnatic, and they got the hell back up, and they were able to reverse sweep, put themselves in this position, and now they're up against G2. We'll see what they can get done for now. It looks like Jankos is going to finish off towards his red buff. Malrang did 3 bot camps there and was looking for something in the bot side. River does put him behind for now, but Larssen has a little bit of mid push. Doesn't have the cleanse though, so if the charm lands, really aggressive dash there, then he could be in trouble.
Yeah, Larssen playing around with the press the attack there. Of course, it's press the attack into electrocute in the mid lane. Lucian can win out those extended trades, especially if he dodges away from the charm.
Lucian very powerful in the early laning phase as well. We haven't really seen much Lucian mid here in Europe outside of Larssen. When it was very prevalent in the meta, it was one of his go-to champions. Something he found a lot of success on, but I'm keeping my eyes on Jankos right now. Okay. He has managed to avoid the vision. Larssen is hovering around where his jungler is. The flash charm.
Jankos coming to follow up, and that's gotta be it. Larssen nowhere to go. Gifted over the Caps.
It's absolutely beautiful, and it's Jankos once again. It happened yesterday, it's happening today. Creative pathings, level 3 gank onto Larssen. He had a ward on that side of the river, so he thought it was absolutely fine, but Jankos snuck around it. But now it's Malrang who's being a bit sneaky. Jankos has flash, level 3 to level 4.
It's gonna be forced away here. EQ over the wall. And we'll know it's Burst Strike Jarvan here for Jankos, perhaps picking up some tricks from Malrang, who spammed that in solo queue a couple of weeks ago.
So Caps is the one who gets the kill, and you can see when the charm lands, Larssen really can't get in. He can't get out. He's going to die no matter what. Jankos even had flash to follow through, so he saved himself. The problem is Caps getting that early kill gives him sword shoes, so he can take early base if he wants to, run back to lane pretty happily, blow in waves, look to roam around side lanes. He will always be kind of one step ahead against Larssen, who only has the Doran's Blade and Corrupting Bot.
And this is one of the things that's great to see as a Jarvan player is when you have that setup in the lane. You look towards bot lane, you have the Rakan setup. When you look at mid lane, yes, you do have to invest your flash, but now that you've already gotten that small advantage in the mid lane, especially with the wave state in the awkward position that it is in, Caps is going to be great, especially once he gets level 6. There's even more gank pressure that's going to continue to build up, so Larssen has to be wary of further ganks in the future.
You talk about gank pressure, of course, because Caps can gap close onto Larssen with the tier 2 boots, but also he can play defensive. If Malrang runs towards him and Caps has no flash, of course, the boots help out so much in running away. So can play offensive, can play defensive. Top lane's been a bit quiet for now. No top laner having TP. It's very kind of individual prowess and wave control. And it looks like the wave's bouncing into BrokenBlade.
This is where we see some of the limitations of what Rogue have drafted for themselves early. They don't have a lot of setup in their lanes. Malrang can dive in and he can apply some slows, but what? You've got one dash on the Ahri, you've got another dash on the Tryndamere. Like, these are not easy lanes to gank. And so you're very reliant on Trymbi actually getting out of the lane and looking to impact elsewhere. So keep your eyes on the bot lane. Have a look as to where Trymbi starts to roam, because you definitely know that very soon he's going to be looking for an opportunity somewhere on the map.
Here goes Malrang.
Jumped onto Jankos, who can just EQ away. Didn't have vision down towards the bottom side, so decided against going aggressive onto the Rogue jungler there. Trymbi coming in as well. Places the ward, and Jankos will now know that Trymbi was in the vicinity.
An interesting thing that's actually been happening in this early stages, despite the early bot push, Rogue have had 3 pushing lanes. Larssen's had consistent mid push. Odo's had BrokenBlade under his tower the majority of the time, and that's why when Jankos pathed towards top early, he backtracked down towards bot. 1, because he doesn't have pushing lanes to contest the crab, and 2, to be a bit creative, so catches the rest of the Rogue off guard. And you can see it here, you know, he's constantly warded out, pushed away by Malrang on the bot side, now pushed away by Larssen on the top side. So this is something we saw from G2 in the early stages of the playoffs, where they don't actually have any prior lanes, nothing to play for, and Jankos really struggled to make any plays. But when that was happening, he was playing things like Lucian, which is a little bit harder to do so on. Now he's got caps on playmakers, and he's on things like the Jarvan and Volibear. It's a little bit easier to balance out the early game.
Definitely is. Odoamne going to invest his ultimate so we can get a quick reset off. We'll give him that slight advantage, and it's kind of needed as the Rumble, especially when you're not running the teleport. The wave mechanics become a lot more intricate when you can't just, oh, my wave's a bit awkward, no problem, I'll just TP back into lane. But now he has more than enough time, and he's also got himself the upgraded boots as well. So Odoamne looking pretty good in the 1v1. And Jankos finding an opportunity to get a bit of an invade off as Targamas follows quickly behind.
Once again, it's Trymbi and Malrang trying to team up here, trying to get into their own jungle, gain control of it once again. With a minute on the Rift Herald spawn, I wonder if these two teams will stay up here for a while. You can see Flakked working his way down mid lane, whereas Comp has gone bot. So if a fight did erupt, G2 would have a man advantage, although Flakked not yet with the team. Jankos stepping forward, BrokenBlade past the tower, proxying as well, Larssen coming in from the side, but no fight will erupt.
G2 just testing Rogue a bit there, saying we can die to a top laner. He has no ult for top wave. If we 4-man him, he's dead. So Rogue has to cover, testing the waters a bit, just getting deeper and deeper in their jungle. They see Larssen's moving, they see Malrang, they see Trymbi, they say, okay, they 4-man match this play. Good job, we've shut us down. Now we'll go towards mid bot side. So
it's tense. You know, you can see both teams really respecting, playing off of what the other is doing, but also reading the map very well. Both teams, I feel like the top two here in Europe, really stacking up, delivering some high-quality league, but Trymbi now on the map. Where is Malrang? Very shortly behind him as well. They're looking.
Caps no flash, then the plate's going to follow in. Sun coming in as well. The culling connects, but the Spirit Rush will be enough from Caps to escape.
So a lot invested to try and get that kill onto Caps, but thanks to the mobility that Ahri does have, he's able to escape. Now this does give a small window for G2 to look for something elsewhere on the map, but with Jankos back in base, Rogue is going to take control of the bot ribbon.
And Larsen's culling might have looked a little bit odd there, as if he missed, but what he was doing is he knew preemptively that Caps would dash away, so he wanted to make sure his culling was in line as to where Caps would dash. He did land a little bit of damage, but yeah, not enough to land the kill.
Crucial thing here is, even though Caps has lost his ultimate, his flash is now back up, and he can just kind of keep rotating between these two skills in order to be extra safe. And this is what we were talking about. You're very reliant on Trymbi to be that engage tool, be that utility, because without it, it's very difficult to lock down this G2 lineup. And then we come back to the draft, that Poppy ban, very big, really big in terms of mitigating a lot of what G2's comp wants to do. So they have the slight gold lead, but right now it is Rogue that start off the Herald.
We saw a similar kind of thing from Rogue in their Fnatic series, where they have really high prio solo laners. They pick blue side and they 2-3 Victor Gnar 2 games in a row, and they lost both of them. The confidence of the lock-ins of the Rumble Lucian, again, they have a similar kind of plan coming into game 1. I'm sure they'll be flexible and versatile if they do lose this game, because of course a Poppy early rotation would be good into the Ahri Jarvan, but BrokenBlade.
Equalizer's going to come down. BrokenBlade, of course, has the Undying Rage. Just looking to kill him onto Odoamne, who flashes away. Malrang on the chase, and BrokenBlade a little bit too overeager. Rogue get their first kill of finals. Caps is on his way, though, with the Cataclysm come down. There's no way for Odoamne to escape. He'll be sacrificed. Malrang leaves him to die, and Caps, once again, will be gifted over this kill.
Rogue are on the board, but G2 quick to answer. Similar to yesterday, again, when Fnatic make plays, they're always there. G2 responding to everything on the map and looking for their own plays at the same time.
Good response from Caps, and to be honest, the amount of damage that was coming out from Odoamne, part of me feels that if Malrang had stayed, they may have been able to get that kill, but it was the smarter option, it was the safer option for Malrang to just disengage, reset, don't bother risking that overextended trade, and ends up being a 1-for-1.
Yeah, because Caps didn't actually have ultimate up when he roamed towards top. He didn't have much to work with, but I don't think Rogue knew the full cooldown of the Ahri ultimate, so that's why they choose to back away. The initial play looks good, but it's BrokenBlade forcing it. Interestingly, Malrang's the one who's coming top first. Jankos is on Herald, and BrokenBlade, I don't know if this all-in is to pull the enemy jungle here and make it so it's a 2v2, or if he knows his mid laner has push, but he overforces it, misses the E, and ends up dying, but of course, Caps collapses.
All summoner spells end up getting used on the top side, but look at this overheat damage that comes out from Odoamne. Jankos kind of running out of gas there. If it weren't for Caps, Odo likely would have been able to secure that kill, but it will be a kill over in G2's favor. They, off the back of that, secured the Herald, which means that on the map right now, they have pretty solid control.
Odo just trying to crash these top waves. Still has a little bit of top push. BrokenBlade, no summoners, makes the all-in a little bit harder. And the gold is still dead even. That Herald will sway it a little bit. Still no dragons taken. Malrang back up towards the top side.
No ulti for BrokenBlade right now.
Look away Jankos as well, though. He's on his way up here. Does have the flash, doesn't have the Cataclysm. Malrang's Crescent Guard about to come off cooldown. They know that Jankos is here. Malrang will spot him and jump on him as well. Knockup will not stop Jankos from getting his EQ out, and because of that, BrokenBlade just able to farm under the tower.
I have to say, very smart by Jankos there, because a lot of junglers moving towards Krugs, you would just naturally EQ the Krugs and start damaging it, trying to kill the camp. Keeps his cooldowns just in case maybe enemy junglers here looking for a top dive. He was able to EQ away, doesn't have to use the flash. Targamas and Trymbi have been hovering around this mid-top side so much. Oh, charm.
Gorgeous charm from Caps. Targamas here as well, but with Trymbi in the area, Larssen is able to walk to the safety of his tower.
You know, we talked about it yesterday. Caps definitely feeling it so far in playoffs. The energy of the crowd definitely doing him a lot of favors. And you know, we were looking back at a play that he made. That I had no idea that he got a pentakill versus T1 when they were playing in MSI back in 2019. Like, the man in front of a crowd, when he gets given that stage, that audience, that platform to perform, he often does.
Yeah, he really does. Both he and Jankos performing incredibly well early on in this game with the Rift Herald going in the mid lane. Caps picks up some of that gold. Odoamne is going to spot Jankos, who does have the Cataclysm, puts down the smite as well. Trymbi's on his way. Solar Flare dodged away by Jankos, but the Zenith Blade will still follow him. Jankos stunned up. There's nowhere for him to go. Tick, tick, boom. Odo gets his kill.
Do you know how Rogue knew Jankos was there? He put the Herald down and the gold flew into Rogue's jungle. And they was like, hang on a second, someone's in our jungle. Then he got another 80 gold from a plate and it went back into their jungle again. So Rogue had no vision, but they knew someone was around there. They collapsed on Jankos, and maybe Jankos saying, wait, how did they know I was here? It was the gold flying through the fog of war. Rogue found themselves a pick.
Good flash by Comp. Would have been dead if he hadn't flashed away from that. The combination of Rakan and Misfortune can be devastating, but Comp able to survive, and in the bottom lane, just had to use that summoner.
So, when we kind of take stock of the current game, we're approaching 15 minutes, and when we talked about the early game, expectations were that Rogue's Comp needs to try and get ahead. They have a lot of pushing lanes, you kind of want to be bullying G2 around, but right now the gold is dead even. And remember that as the game goes on, G2's teamfight composition is going to be very difficult for Rogue to manage. When you think about the Rakan, Ahri, Tryndamere, Jarvan, very mobile champions, a lot of dashes, and your only CC is Comp when he has the gravity guns, and then also Trymbi. So being able to lock all these champions down is going to be very difficult, especially when it comes to these team fights. And right now, Rogue don't actually have control of these early objectives. They're not afraid to give over a lot of early Drakes, but I am getting a little more concerned for Rogue when we haven't seen a huge amount from them so far.
Well, because in the past, when they gave up early objectives, they were able to get gold on the rest of the map. You can see they average 1.4 or 1.7 thousand gold ahead at the 14-minute mark. And yes, sometimes it's not about towers, it's not about taking those early objectives. Instead, it's about getting good kills and then catching waves out of it. Here, even with pushing lanes, G2 are keeping them at arm's length.
Yeah, we saw it yesterday. G2 in every single game were able to get the first two neutral objectives, the Herald and the Dragon. It's happened again here. And we think of Rogue of past years, 2021, 2020, they always prefer pushing lanes. And it was to get inspired through the early game so he could power farm or have Malrang make plays around the map and look for early dives. And Larssen Odo, true to their name, as they have done last year as well, just pick pushing lanes. They've kept it up for now, hasn't netted them too much, a little bit of plates in the solo lanes, but of course G2 answering with the Herald has evened up the gold state. First Dragon over to G2, platings are off, and I think G2 are just kind of lying in wait, waiting for the mythic item onto BrokenBlade. Then he can look for some more all-ins, but Odoamne going Zhonya's first makes it really hard for Jankos and BrokenBlade to kill the Rumble.
This is very likely going to be the bot tower going down. The blue buff will be handed over to Larssen. Obviously very valuable on the Lucian, especially in the laning phase, but it means that there's no real cross map. BrokenBlade doesn't have information as to exactly where Malrang is, so he's a little afraid of getting tower dive, but with the wave thinned out, he's in a good position, and now he's going all in.
I don't think he's too afraid right now as he forces Odoamne away, but Odo, with the scrap shield, with the overheat, is able to chunk out BrokenBlade. Jankos steals away another camp out of Malrang's jungle.
Rogue a little bit down on tempo here. They need to take this top tier one. G2 have already answered with the first tower, and Flakked basically in base at this point, so they're going to be first out onto the map, and Odoamne still needs to get this tower down. By the time he does, G2 will be on the map. We'll see what play they look for. Caps is looking to try to defend it. I don't know if he'll be there in time. He will. So, first tower to G2. Rogue haven't found an answer yet.
Yeah, I don't think they were going to be able to get that tower either, but let's see if Malrang's come up with something clever here. He's going to make his way into the lane. Jankos is hovering around, clearing out some of the vision. He has no information as to where Malrang is right now.
They know that G2's bot lane is going to swap top, so instead of basing here, it looks like they're just going to overstay and try to surprise Flakked. Now, if this play backfires, it's a disaster on the map because G2 will have every wave to work with. But if it doesn't, it stabilizes the tempo on the map. Trymbi's behind, Flakked.
He's got the cleanse, he's got the flash, but he's out of position now. Jankos on his way, Trymbi stepping forward, Flakked flashes away, the cleanse available, but nowhere for him to go. Rogue pounce from the bush.
Brilliant play from Rogue. They did invest a lot, but you read the map perfectly, Caedrel. They knew exactly what was going to happen. The swap comes through from Flakked. He's isolated in the top lane. He's not expecting Rogue members to be sitting in that brush. and they end up finding themselves a kill. But G2 answer with a tower in mid.
Odo will finally get that top tier 1, so that play worked out in the end. Caps a bit aggressive here. Trymbi lying in wait, doesn't have the ultimate. Targamas has been hovering around all game long to make sure he's safe, and he will be for now. Herald just spawned. Flakked up in 2 seconds. We'll have the W, of course, with the change in the patch. When the MF respawns, does get a lot of move speed out of base with the home guards too, but he has to catch top wave. G2 poising for the team fight. We'll see what ultimates they have. Rogue still missing that equalizer from Odoamne, but they want this objective. BrokenBlade split pushing bot.
He's on the tier 2 and he's got no TP, so G2 can poke and they can prod, but they can't really advance into a team fight here. As I say that, Jankos steps into the darkness. Targamas there as well. The bullet time coming in and ripping through them, but the stopwatches will stop Rogue from falling. Jankos has to flash away. Caps on his way. Spirit Rush a possibility. He goes on to Trymbi first. He'll get the reset there.
Once more.
3 stacks on it, but Larssen comes in from the backside. The smite from Jankos, not enough. Equalize onto Flakked as well as Larssen looks to take down 1. Caps gets a second. 2 Spirit Rush charges. A possibility of a re-engage. BrokenBlade still not here. The tier 2 hits target as he will secure it. Caps dives in. The charm connects, but Odo's up to it towards the flank. Flash, flash, not enough. Oh, Caps with a great route though. Able to get out alive.
G2 get everything. That was a 5v4 from the get-go. BrokenBlade was just farming bot throughout the entire thing, and it's Caps who single-handedly wins the fight for G2.
Ends up being a 2 for 2, but G2 secure the tier 2 tower in the bot lane. They deny Rogue from getting the Herald as well, and you can see that gold lead starting to mount. The Dragon spawns in a minute's time, and BrokenBlade is going to add insult to injury by stealing away the red buff as well.
Oh, Caps on this Ahri is...
He's something else, man.
He's tearing up the rift yesterday and today, building towards the Rabadons once again. We saw this as well when just rushing a second item at Rabadons when you're just so far ahead, and it was a bit confusing. You even wondered why G2 was engaging at this point because BrokenBlade's pushing bot. It's a 5v4 from the get-go. They engage, Targamas falls, Trymbi gets out on 1 HP, but it's Caps who cleans up the fight.
It certainly is. I'm amazed with Trymbi's W and Malrang's ultimate, they were able to soak up that damage, but Caps gets that first pick, then has 3 dashes on his ultimate. Larssen then comes in thinking he can clean up the fight, and he gets very good damage, but Flakked responds with very good damage of his own. If Larssen had been able to kill Flakked, this could have been a very favorable situation for Rogue. They could have gotten the Herald, maybe even a mid-tier 1, and answered a little bit more map control.
It's the sweeper that spotted them. Zenith Blade just wide. Trymbi now dodges the charm. Fancy footwork there from the Rogue supporters. He's able to get away, but there's a Dragon on the cards here. In 1 second time, Jankos has control over that hit at the moment.
Like you said, Manic Dragon spawn. Looks like we're in for round 2. Bot wave pushing into G2. Top wave pushing into G2. Mid wave as well. They need to start this fight up soon because they're going to bleed so much gold. Looks like they're going to force the objective. Rogue just going to give it up for now.
Your engage is half HP. Trymbi's half HP. How do you ever get into the fight?
Yeah, no vision either. They lost some waves in bot. We'll be able to catch top in time unless Rogue want to start up the Herald again. Remember that Herald didn't die. Caps going on to Comp.
Comp has nowhere to go apart from flashing away. The solar flare dodged as well. A summoner and an ultimate there from Caps, just using his Spirit Rush, and Rogue will start up the Rift Herald.
Important to note that Caps now won't have that available, but I think contesting this from G2's side would be a little over-aggressive.
Yeah.
They're just going to disengage, they're going to push out their waves and then look to reset, get a little bit more tempo over the map, but they have a 2k gold lead for the time being. And Caps just continuing to dominate on this Ahri. The amount of space that he is creating for G2 is just ridiculous. The way he utilizes his charms, the way he's forcing out summoner spells, it's making it very difficult for Rogue to approach these fights.
Yeah, you say that G2 have a small gold lead for now, but I'm just going to bring up the minimap because what they can do is with this Herald, they can Herald this mid-tier 1. This bot tier 1 is also extremely low HP, so I think over the next course of 2 to 3 minutes, Rogue can get that gold back to an even state. They have the resources to do it. Bot wave will bounce through all the way to the tier 1. Odoamne pushing that out now, but of course G2 will try to stop them in their tracks. Rabadons collected there for Caps. 19 minutes in, 2 items strong. We'll see if they can defend the siege of Rogue.
You can see how hesitant Odoamne is to overstep. He has no information as to where people are on the map just yet. He's waiting for people to appear before he overextends. It's got to be frustrating for Odo. He's now going to see Caps towards the top side. This is going to give him a little bit more security. And now he's going to look to push out that wave. There, Jankos been spotted out as well. Now he knows that G2 is investing in the top side. This is going to force Larssen to go back to base.
Rogue should know that G2's Baron is not the fastest, right? MF Ahri not the quickest. Oh, they're looking for a pick.
It doesn't matter who wants neutral objectives when you can just take kills. Jankos takes 1, Caps locked up, but he's able to walk away alive.
Wow, okay. How did that happen in the blink of an eye? Trymbi's just dead.
It's another charm from Caps, continuously looking for these plays. He goes for another one, can't quite find it though. Larssen trying to answer back, but keep your eyes on Targamas. Not going to commit to the fight, but while this is happening, BrokenBlade continues to split. This 4-1 pressure that G2 is creating across the map is making it very difficult for Rogue to answer.
Yeah, G2 will get this top tower, but Rogue can play on 2 lanes. I think Malrang can Herald mid here, and they can just force this mid-tier 1. Caps no ultimate. We'll see if they choose to do so. They're waiting for the waves. Odoamne rotated up. Malrang is in position to drop it. Trymbi's coming out of base. It looks like all the pings coming down was the play, but they've called it off.
I have, for the moment, Rift Herald, as you say, still available for Malrang. Got about half of its cooldown left as BrokenBlade pushes in the top lane wave. And if we look at G2 so far this game, it's been a story of two players. Jankos and Caps, 100% kill participation. These guys have been with this team for an age. Caps joined the league, lost twice, and then won 6 titles in a row. 4 of those with Jankos. These two guys are stalwarts of G2 now. And the question coming into this year was, would that be enough? Would them losing Perks and losing Reckless and losing Wonder, would Caps and Jankos be enough for G2 to rise to the occasion? Well, they're definitely rising to it right now as Jankos maybe caught out just a little bit. Trymbi looking for it, but you can't solo flare because you don't have it off cooldown anyway.
Chooses not to overextend, but yeah, veterans in the league, obviously fan favorites as well. Everyone absolutely loves to watch Caps and Jankos play in their peak form. And right now, that's what we're seeing. They won another title back under their belt last year. It was a difficult year for them. They struggled, falling short of the finals twice, and now they have their opportunity to reclaim their title as both teams now posturing around the mid lane. The Drake spawns in a minute and a half. G2 already setting up vision, getting control over the waves.
Caps and Jankos definitely have been in the driver's seat throughout this whole lower brackets run. Steals away the crab there, Jankos in front of Malrang, and this bot tier 1 is what Rogue keep trying to play for on G2, just shadowing, pushing out the waves, denying that play. Malrang's Herald is running out soon, so if Rogue want to get this mid tower, they're going to have to base together now and set up tempo towards mid soon, otherwise they're not going to be able to get it without the Herald. I think G2 have enough vision and enough push in these lanes to hold it for now, unless some kind of team fight kicks off and Rogue get the advantage. Baron will be what G2 want to control until that dragon spawns in a minute, like you said, Vedius.
G2, 3,000 gold ahead now, 23 minutes into the game, and Rogue with a composition that had push in the lanes, that had priority, that had early game strength, are struggling to find avenues to approach this game. Yes, they've got kills, but they're 4 towers to 1 down, they're 2 dragons to 1 down, to none down, and they are just not able to find an avenue to really approach this game.
I think a little bit of an uncharacteristic mistake here from Rogue. What happened was Malrang and Odoamne based from bot and ran out of base towards mid. Now Comp is just based, so they're not basing at the same time. So look at G2, they all came out of base at the same time. So now when this Herald's popped, look where all of Rogue is. They kind of have to funnel towards mid, run here. The wave's on in great states. I think Caps and Jankos will run towards mid here as well. 20 seconds on this Dragon. We're probably going to get a 5v5 on the next mid wave, unless either team gives some leeway. It will be sole point for G2 though if Rogue give this up.
Looking to interrupt the Herald, Odoamne.
Jumps on the BrokenBlade, but look at the damage from Odoamne. He just burns them. The Emperor's going to root him up though, and with the solar flare with the follow-up. BrokenBlade pops the Undying Mage. Equalizer off towards the backline. BrokenBlade with stopwatch of his own. Targamas coming in with the quickness. The bullet time across the board will be able to get one. Odo down. Rogue though can look for the re-advances. Comp up towards the side. Trymbi diving in, but he's down as well. Caps goes unstoppable. 5 kills for him, and Rogue have to retreat.
G2 continue to pick apart Rogue when they're in the setup. We saw 3 members trying to contest the midway from Rogue, and G2 saw that as an opportunity to leverage their mobility and find a pick. Props to Odo, he played that as well as he could have, dodging absolutely everything and forcing BrokenBlade on the back foot, but the follow-up from G2 was just so much stronger, and it comes back to this mobility that we were talking about. G2 have so many options to get into the fight, and Rogue just can't lock them down.
Get into the fight and get out as well. That's exactly what Caps did, so we'll look at it again here, because Odoamne looked like he was caught. Really good stopwatch, because this stopwatch stops the charm from hitting, so they can't commit a lot of damage. Burning through the stopwatch with the Q. BrokenBlade gets extremely low, and with this overcommit here, it looks so Rogue favored with the Rumble ultimate, but then Caps dashes to the side, pops the stopwatch. In comes Targamas with the knock-up. The MF over the wall, so much damage.
And they just can't finish any other targets off. This could have been a 4v4, but Trymbi felt like he needed to try and make a play to keep his team alive. He ends up losing his life for it. Ends up being a 2-for-1 in favor of G2, and that will be their 3rd Drake of the game.
And you talked about ease of execution in draft Vedius, and you were favoring G2. We can see it there in the team fights. Although Odoamne got so much damage onto BrokenBlade, and yes, he has the ultimate, but he has to be careful. G2 have so many spells that they can just throw into an AoE fight and hope they hit. Rogue only really have the solar flare, maybe the culling in a single target damage form, and then the Rumble ultimate. The Aphelios Lucian need to get in range, whereas G2 have so much of it with the MF Rakan.
It's one of those things where G2 right now, they've just been showcasing what they beat Fnatic with. Very strong team fighting, a lot of independent agency on players like Caps. BrokenBlade, he was more on tank duty yesterday, but now he's playing that Tryndamere. He's being a massive split-pushing threat, and really they can only send Larssen to answer him. Odoamne can kind of hold him in the 1v1, but without that TP, it becomes hard to play in the 4v4. So Rogue right now find themselves 4k gold down here in game 1. Obviously a long series to go, but G2 continuing their winning ways for the time being.
Definitely is. We have to feel like this Ahri Jarvan is G2's bread and butter. Caps and Jankos have been holding hands the entire game long, ever since that mid gang to set up Caps to unlock the rest of the map. Larssen and Malrang hanging around, emoting in that bush for a bit, maybe waiting for someone to walk in for look for a pick, because right now it looks so hard to contest this Baron vision. Just checking to see if G2 were starting it over the wall there because they have no vision in the pit.
I wanted to come quickly back to your point about Jankos and Caps, mainly because you look at the scorelines, 5-0-2, 2-2-5. That is 7 of the 7 kills that G2 have had. That duo has been involved in every single one of them. And at the beginning of the year, the expectations were that, okay, if G2 is going to find ways to carry, it's going to be off the back of this mid-jungle duo. And I really feel like we're seeing this mid-jungle duo continue to shine.
We're seeing Caps roaming around the map so much in the early game, something is reminiscent of his MSI days. You know, 2019, he was everywhere. The Pike, a little bit of a meme, but they were all over the map, and it's what brought G2 so much glory in the past. Here, he's setting them up to the 1-0 up in this best of 5 in the LEC finals. Rogue are looking for something here, but G2 have control over the top side of the map.
Rogue don't really have any reliable lockdown to Flakked. If they want this Rumble ult to hit onto MF, they need some lockdown. He has Cleanse coming up soon. Caps chunks out Trymbi. You can see the damage.
This is what he keeps doing. He holds an area of the map and he just waits for someone to walk in, throws out the charm. If it misses, that's fine. He has ways to get out. Oh, but Caps.
Back here. Caps goes in with the Spirit Rush, just
nice
misses
response.
with both the Everfrost, the Spirit Rush back forward, or the Deception. That's the soul of there, but just on the edge of it. Equalizer going down, but the Locket Shield will be enough to keep Caps alive. He flashes. G2 now walking away a little bit wounded, but Rogue look worse for wear.
But you can see how the game's playing out. Caps is literally keeping 5 members of Rogue at bay, keeping them under their talons. The second they even try to step foot into their own jungle, Caps is ready to pounce. So this is going to be a problem that only gets worse for Rogue because Caps has so much mobility. When he gets Zhonya's, it's going to be even harder. Luckily, he lost his flash there. 1 minute 40 seconds on the Dragon. Won't have the flash for the Dragon. And he has 10 Magi stacks too, so one more team fight could go towards 25.
He's 5-0-2 and he fought a Magi's in the final. I mean, yeah, exactly.
I mean, he also went Rabbit on second item. Like, this guy is there to get as much damage down as possible in as short a period of time as possible, and it's working for G2 right now.
Yeah. And obviously that puts an even bigger spotlight on players like Larssen. When we think about trying to contest the top at the end of the regular season, many people said he was robbed of being like top 2, even number 1 at the end of his performance. And often one of the criticisms for Larssen throughout his entire career has been in these clutch moments when the pressure is on, when the stakes are at their highest. Can he deliver? And players like Caps, that's like second nature. That's where they thrive. Yeah. The pressure is kind of what enables them. But Larssen is a player that's still trying to prove himself. And obviously on a champion like Lucian, he had a lot of agency in the early game and he was shut down a little bit by this Ahri and the Jarvan. But he still has carry potential. On this Lucian, working towards that third item, he still has the ability to turn fights around. And it's still a long series, but eyes will be on him to see if he can make something happen to help turn this game around for Rogue.
TB coming in from Caps, just wants to keep tempo in the bot lane, keep that bot push. This bot tower has been something Rogue have been trying to get for so long. And if they can get bot push and mid push 30 seconds for this Drake, then what's Rogue's avenue into it? Maybe they could just go for a Baron rush, trade Soul for Baron, and then try to stabilize the game by getting the standing gold on the map. That will just be so impossible if you don't get enough to crawl your way to some kind of advantage. G2 will have the mounts off the rest of the game, of course. Caps making sure they can't come through bots, so Rogue making the decision to go through mid. Now Targamas is lying in wait. They're going to have to face check eventually.
Who's going to face check? Is it Trymbi? He's pretty squishy. Only the Locket and plated steel caps for him. Caps still
Didn't see
behind enemy lines. That didn't see him. It's around the angle.
BrokenBlade pinks the bush as well, so they know BrokenBlade's here, but they don't know Caps is here. He's lying in wait over the wall. Rogue.
Targamas has the quickness, has the flash, has every engage opportunity. Larssen looking for the top side of this. BrokenBlade maybe acting as a little bit of a bait as Caps is in the right position. Is it the right time for G2? Trymbi's going to step forward here. Rogue, the charm onto Trymbi. Caps with the Everfrost as well. Trymbi survives though. BrokenBlade goes in. The quickness of the backline, but Caps is not going to be able to lock them up. Odoamne pulls the stopwatch. Larssen trying to get away. The culling, not enough. It's a 1-for-2 trade so far, but Targamas will fall as well. But Caps continues to put the damage down. It's Odo and Malrang versus the world, and the world is going to come crashing down on both of their heads. Malrang gets one in response, but Jankos and Caps clean him up.
Oh, Caps! He is back, baby! Again, puts G2 on his back in that fight. Flakked falls, BrokenBlade gets a lot of work done, but it's the 8-0 Ferrari with another 100% kill participation that wins in the fight and wins in the soul.
What a stunning flank from Caps. He just removes the initiation. Once again, this is the third time that he has just taken Trymbi out of the fight. The charm lands, the plan comes together, and he just gets shut down. Starting this fight 4v5, Trymbi lands a good ultimate onto BrokenBlade, but you can see the engage from G2. The ultimate here from Flakked as well, creating so much space, getting that initial kill, and huge props to Rogue. They make this fight look close, but the moment that Caps rejoins the fray, it's a one fight for G2.
Yeah, and it's Odo and Malrang who actually get onto the bot lane if G2 managed to kill them, but like you said, Caps is just running loose in this fight from their entrance red all the way around to their blue entrance and then back into river. He's chasing them down. This Ahri is going to be a big problem for Rogue the longer the series goes on. Maybe something they need to think about if it does go to game 2 and G2 get the win.
This man, he's built his stacks, boys. He is at 25 off the back of that fight. Level 16 on the Ahri. Can we quickly click the Ahri observers just so I can have a look at how much AP he has right now? 728. Just a meager 728 ability power. No big deal.
All right, Trymbi's locked up here with Jankos. Jankos should be able to win that 1v1, but BrokenBlade may come in for a little bit of a helping hand, equalizer down, but look at the shield from the mountain, from the lock-in, and then the bullet time rips through Rogue. Malrang and Odo able to retreat for the moment. Still Trymbi dying off towards the top side. Jankos distracted by him. The culling out from Larssen. BrokenBlade down to half HP. Trymbi and Jankos still fighting.
Yeah,
Jankos, you can do it, man. I believe in you, Jankos. There we go. He killed our support. Let's go.
He can take his time as well because Baron's up. You can see Larssen just used his TP to bot lane and Malrang's on bot crab, so this Baron is as good as gone. G2 now have sold their Baron. I mean, if Rogue want to find a way back into this game, it might have to be an Elder Dragon.
I mean, a very impressive game 1 from G2. Obviously still a long best of 5 to go, but remember that coming into the final through the lower bracket, G2 is 9-0. Obviously, winning this game will put them at 10-0. But that's
maths right there.
That is an impressive record, especially when you think of the expectations that surrounded this team. They find themselves with a 4K gold lead. The analyst desk was split in terms of the votes as to who would come out on top, but many consider Rogue the favorites. All I can say is right now, G2 is looking good, and what will the adaptations be for game 2? When we think about comeback opportunities for Rogue, they really do need a bit of a miracle. You know, we talked so much about the amount of mobility, the lack of crowd control. It feels like the G2 kind of have all the options, whereas Rogue need the perfect formula in order to find the perfect fight, and G2 is just not giving it to them.
I mean, Flakked doesn't have flash for a little while, but I think G2 setting up the siege. They won't have vision, Rogue, to find and engage. Malrang's flash was used to get on top of Flakked, and like we talked about, there's not much lockdown to get onto this MF. You know, Jarvan's very easy point and click. Aphelios can't move if he has no flash, but Flakked has stopwatch, has cleanse for Trymbi's Leona. Rogue trying to set up a pick here, trying to find where G2 are. Flakked stacking this bot wave to make sure it's as big as possible. G2's Jankos and Targamas there to cover, while Caps and BrokenBlade push down mid, playing on 2 lanes here, G2.
Yeah, they're setting up the waves beautifully. The engage comes in.
Flakked's able to walk away. That is a full equalizer that he tanked there, and he's able to walk away with basically no damage to his health bar. Caps now TPs down towards the bottom lane as BrokenBlade's coming in for the fight as well. The quickness onto the backline, one already down, and they're looking for more. G2 take 2 with the double. Flakked finally on the board. The third comes in for BrokenBlade, and Rogue can only stand and watch.
Yeah, it looks like they could just run it down and end here, Medic.
They can definitely do that, Caedrel. Obviously, G2 have a penchant for a fountain dive, so we'll see if they decide to end it right now. The Nexus Tower is their target to start. Larssen and Comp can only watch as their allies' corpses are strewn in the bottom lane, and G2, in dominant fashion, make it 10-0.
Great game from start to finish. You unlock Caps, and Caps is just taking over the map with Jankos again. I think this Ahri is a problem.
Yes.
I think the Jarvan is a problem.
Yeah.
I think this early game playmaking and Caps being on such a playmaking mid and being able to be that individual decision-making assassin is a problem.
3-2-14 for Jankos. He was literally involved in every single kill. He intentionally solo killed the Leona so Caps couldn't get all the KP.
Yeah.
Like, the man has been on a mission this game. Like, we talked about the hunger, the desire for these players to be back on top. We were talking to Dylan briefly before, and he was talking about how Caps is so focused right now. He wants to win, and this G2 roster, while there were many doubts, they've come in to perform, and game 1, they're looking strong.
And the momentum is strong. 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, now 1-0 up. The momentum for G2 right now, they must be feeling great.
For sure.
They definitely are. Rogue, of course, coming off a reverse sweep against Fnatic, now losing the first game. They did elect blue side. I wonder if we'll see some changes there because Rogue gets side selection being the losing team, and we'll see if they decide to move over to the red side. Your key player of the game vote for game 1 at LEC on Twitter. Jankos, Caps, and Flakked are your options.
So now we have per game. You can vote.
We've only got one game, I think. So
never mind.
Maybe we have it more games. I was told for 1 game.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin, for giving me the rundown on that one.
Kevin comes in, produces one show weekend, and we only have 1 pod. That's how it works, apparently, now.
Okay.
I will say, you can kind of just cut off that portion of the screen where Flakked was. 'Cause he's playing really well. His playoffs have been superb. But that game was not about Flakked at all. We're going to come back after a short break for game 2 of the series. Don't you dare go anywhere. Oh, we're shaking.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.